Welcome to Sincerely Japan, the drifting podcast.
Man, we've had a lot happen in the past probably 2 or 3 weeks, I think. Like a lot to talk about, a lot going on. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. A lot of what?
A lot more interaction.
Oh, dude. Well, yeah, you've been crushing it on Instagram. It's like every time I look, it's like, oh, Sincerely Japan's got a new story. And for me, I'm like, wait, what is this? Like, did we get hacked? And then it's fucking Darius out here crushing it.
Yeah.
Posting some shit I don't agree with, some shit I do. Dude, that FRS you posted with the super wide body, so tight.
That was so disgusting.
I got DMs about that because I remember I posted a story after yours and I was like, nah, this thing's sick. And then I got probably 2 or 3 people that were like, nah, dude, this shit's whack. So I think the general consensus lays with you on that one.
It's one of those things where it's like, it's a good thing it exists because somebody, you should do whatever you want, but it's just taking it to the next level. I'm pretty sure that's a 326 garage kit or 326 whatever. Is it 326 or 362? Whatever.
326. Misaru.
326.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they make that.
But I didn't know that for a while. I probably already said that on the podcast. 326, like if you spell it out, in Japanese pronunciation is Misaru Power, like missile power.
Really, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And it's a play on the kanji because like the kanji for 3 is fuck, dude. Part of it is pronounced me 6. I don't know, dude. I'm not gonna explain all this shit, but it's based off fucking like kanji pronunciations. Anyways. I'm not gonna talk about shit I don't know about. First things first, this is an event that I was so excited for. DoriDore, Drift Dress Up. DoriDore Soul. And they do it every year, and it's like, I don't want to say it's like Final Bout in Japan, but it's comparable, where the focus is on the cars. It's like you would take a show car or a stance car. It has like a very heavy stance focus.
Yeah. I think it's primarily the stance that they're focusing on, not necessarily being a show car.
Right. No, I agree. And I think, well, I don't, but is there a disparity between the two? Because in my mind, it's like most of Japanese stance cars are show cars.
Yeah, well, I would disagree with that because what they got to do to get those cars that low, typically it's destroying the cars. A couple of cars you'll see where the stance is, it's still mildly useful, but like that A86 we were discussing a little bit before the show started, there's no way that, you can possibly drive that car around, which I guess puts it in the stance camp. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll post that 86 on Instagram.
I just mean like, I don't know. From my perspective, a show car is clean inside and out. And a lot of these cars that you'll see at DoriDore look immaculate on the outside. And then you look inside and it's just, it's a stripped out truck car. So it's really like the perfect marriage of function and form.
Well, it's not. There's no function, though. That's the whole point of it.
I mean, those guys are getting out there sliding.
Right. But, okay, so here's where I really want to get into things. Because I was watching, because this event happened, I think on, gosh, what is today? This happened last weekend. And I want to say I was watching a video like Sunday. So it wasn't one of these media companies that like went and was editing. It was just some guy, like who turned his camera on and just let it run. And he recorded for like 30 minutes straight. Just hot laps. You know what I mean? No edits. And I think that that's so important to truly reflect like an event because you can edit like 5 seconds of somebody's run and be like, oh, that looks sick. But that's 5 seconds. Like, what does the rest of that one person's run look like? Did they spin out? Did they just grip up? And you know what I mean? Like, yeah, you could post a highlight reel, but at the end of the day, it's a highlight reel. And I don't think that gets communicated enough on YouTube. Like, you just see highlight reels and you go, damn, everybody there is such a good driver. Like, all their cars are so nice. But, dude, when I was watching this thing unedited, like, drivers looked like they were having such a hard time driving these cars. Like a lot of them would grip up. They wouldn't have a ton of angle. They were like really shaky, even like mid drift. Like it was like this is going to sound very mean, but I was almost embarrassed for them because I'm not saying they're bad drivers, but what I am saying is these cars are set up so impractically that I feel like it makes even a good driver have a very hard time trying to control it.
Well, yeah.
And so it was like, I was watching this and I was like, this is just for clout. You know what I mean? Like, this is just a photo op and it's nothing more. Like, they're beautiful cars. I love what the event stands for. I love that it's like promoting, putting a lot of thought and effort into building a nice drift car. But at the end of the day, there's like a very fine line between having a car that's totally drivable, that looks fantastic, and having a car that just looks fantastic.
Yeah, but even along those lines, I still admire the idea of like, you're going to put all this time and effort into making a car that sits just right and the tire, you know, kisses the fender, and then you're going to go take it on track where you know it's going to get destroyed. Even if you're not even that great of a driver. You know, the best example, there is this, it's like a cherry red R32 with a Pandem kit.
Yeah.
The wide body kit. I don't know if you saw this, but he spent all this time making it look perfect, immaculate, and then he gets out there and I think he snapped like the rear freaking I guess the Hikis arm. It wouldn't be like a tie rod in the back, but it's like a Hikis arm. So the wheel was all cockeyed in there, and that was the end of his day. He spent all that time making the car sit and look perfectly.
Right.
But since you didn't test it properly, you know, you just focus on the way it looks. As soon as you know, put some real work in, it just snaps in half.
You could say the same thing about a lot of people's builds now, because they spend so much time on like, oh, I'm going to build the perfect car and then drive it. And it's like, if you don't have the seat time to be able to truly shake down a car and figure out what it needs, you know, you're going to shoot yourself in the foot by building this whole thing and then going out and, like you said, like just snapping shit or like ending your day early or not having the skill to like go through a full day or getting overwhelmed. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many variables even like just outside of the build. And I'm happy because I feel like now people are realizing that more. Like, there's more of an emphasis now on seat time. But I think like 3 or 4 years ago, even, I mean, not that long ago, everybody was like mid-build on something. They were like, bro, I'm going to build this shit and kill the game. I'm going to come out here full vertex. You know what I mean? And I've only seen like a handful of people that have done that and come out like favorably.
Yeah. And you know something else that I'm noticing about these DoriDore videos that I've been seeing? A lot of them they'll come up to like, I guess you want to say like the show wall or where like everybody is. Right. There's like a couple of turns, right, where everybody is, where the cameras are. And they'll just like meander around the entire track. And on this one turn, they'll come around and like blaze and like light up the tires and everything. Yeah. And then like, that's it.
That's what I mean, dude.
I don't want to feel like we're speaking out of turn though, because we weren't there. But you know, like you said, you saw some video, unedited video of it. I don't want to feel like we're shitting on these people.
No, I'm absolutely not. Yeah, it's so much work goes into these cars, and so I'm not discrediting the drivers. And it's kind of like you said. There's, you know, there probably is a certain amount where they put in so much work and they're like, okay, I'm going to go out to show out, but I don't want to ruin this thing. You know what I mean? Like, there has to be a little bit of that mindset of like, I put so much sweat equity into this car, so let's get some dope photos and play it safe. And there were some drivers that were just hot lapping, that were crushing it. And I'm not trying to say that everybody was like that, but it definitely, like, you could definitely tell that it was a photo op, I think, first and foremost.
I really don't want it to sound like we're coming down on this event, because at the end of the day, we love the cars, and I'm sure the people are really nice. And there's a couple of cars that I've seen at this event that we've, talked about on the show before that, we both really like that Black Crown. That's fucking slammed out. Yeah.
I gave him flowers a couple episodes back. Yeah. He is that boy. No, I know. And I think that's kind of the culture we live in now, right? Is like, you have drivers that are focused on being better drivers, and then you have drivers that are focused on building their brand and building like their audience. And there's not one that's right or wrong. They're just different intentions. And so I think that's where I'm coming from, is like, a lot of these guys really put a ton of effort into building a beautiful machine, and that in its own right is respectable. And so that's where I'm coming from, is like, I'm not saying, oh, these drivers fucking suck. I'm saying, rather than being like super driving focused, their focus is the machine itself and what it looks like. And so that's where I'm coming from, is and that's what Darius and I wanted to talk about, was what's the preferable, to us? What's the preferable style here? Is it going to be machine focused or is it going to be driving focused? And I think for me, dude, I'm going to be honest with you, man. I think I'm like machine focused. I think even though it wasn't that impressive to watch, I still think just the cars themselves make the event. And for me, it's like, I think because it's harder to find really, really nice drift focused builds. Like even if they're not practical drift cars, they are still drift focused, I think. And I think it's hard to find that. So when you have a gallery or a display like this, you know, to me, that's exciting because it is rare. It's like hard to come by. This and Final Bout are like the only two galleries I can think of that really focus on the cars themselves.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I'd have to be right there with you just for the virtue of that. I can't stand how, what's the word, homogenized or whatever. Like
Damn, dog.
Drifting builds.
Is that what they do to milk?
No, I thought it was homogenized. You know, but everything is the same. Like everybody's figured out the formula to make like a consistent high power, you know, high angle build. And in the States, that's what a lot of people are doing.
Dog, that's what they do to milk. Fuck out of here. No. You're right.
See, don't try to come in my vocabulary, bro. I've been reading.
Hold up, dude. Homogenized. Adjective. 1. Of milk. Subjected to a process in which the fat droplets are emulsified and the cream does not separate. 2. Made uniform or similar.
Boom.
So it's both.
There
But
we
you
go.
said it, dude. And I was instantly like, milk. What the fuck?
I hesitated, but I knew where I was going with it. But like I was saying, the thing that I cherish about events like this and Final Bout is just being unique, which I thought that's what the whole idea of drifting was being unique.
Right.
But and that's probably why I'm not a huge fan of especially Formula Drift, is because since it's so formulaic, I guess it's in the name, whatever. They know what you got to do to be competitive, and everybody does the same thing. It's really just like the shell might be different on the cars, but everything inside is all the same.
Right.
Like they'll run the same angle kits, the same, you know, quick change, rear diff, all that bullshit, whatever. And there's something to be said, you know, I'm not shitting on that stuff per se, but when I sit down and want to, indulge in some content, I want to see cool cars. And like you said, since they're only taking snapshots of them like mid drift, you have no idea if these cars are good to drive or not.
Right.
You just like, well, that looks cool.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I don't think it's shitting on FD. It's just a different, you know what I mean? It's like, it's a totally different animal. Of course it's a different animal. I mean, even just from a competition level, but also, like you said, they're focused on winning, not building something unique. You know what I mean? Like that's, you're not going to get paid out for having a different car. You're going to get paid out for winning. So it's not like we're shitting on FD. It's just a totally different, it's a totally different intent. The nice thing about the Final Bout and DoriDore is, like you said, I mean, you put it well. I'm not going to repeat what you already put in there. You're totally right, dude. But so let's talk about that a little bit specifically. Like, let's get really specific. Do you have a preference between DoriDore and Final Bout? Because DoriDore is more, yes, teams show up, but I think it's more of an individual event, you know what I mean, of like showing specific builds, whereas Final Bout is very focused on the team dynamic. And not only that, I mean, the car styles are different, like there's a lot of subtle differences that most people may not notice, but like we said earlier, I mean, DoriDore is very, very stancy, and not all Final Bout cars are set up that way. Between those two, if you had to pick one, which one would be your preference to either like attend or compete in?
Well, I guess I kind of want to say Final Bout, which is kind of hard for me to say, but I would go Final Bout, honestly, because you're going to see things there that, I grew up in Japan and around Japan, and I've seen a lot of that stuff, but I still want to indulge more in what Americans are doing, because I feel like in America, we're still trying to chase that Japanese dream, but since we can't have it quite like fully, people have to think outside the box on a lot of stuff, like as far